Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to go through my team selection for game week 5. So I'm going to talk about captaincy, I'm going to talk about those players that make my starting 11, who I'm going to bench, and also any last minute transfers that I could possibly be keeping an eye on. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, like this content, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's get into it. Let's have a quick recap on how I did in game week 4. It seems a long time ago, even when I was going through the players and their scores, I had to remind myself about what actually happened. Onana blanked, he had that fixture away at Arsenal, so I wasn't expecting too much from him. The alternative was Turner. Quite frankly, I was never going to put him in goal when he's playing away at Chelsea, but he came away with 5 points. Udogie I brought in, that turned out to be a decent decision. I didn't keep the clean sheet, but he showed his attacking potential in getting another assist. Saliba lost his clean sheet to Man United. Lewis, I've just fallen into this Pep roulette trap that I just shouldn't do, and I did it last year, and again I'm suffering. Lewis is an issue for me. He came on for 1 minute. He got a point. It didn't really cost me much in the long term, but next time, I don't know. He is an issue that I'll deal with. Chilwell, we all know how disappointing that result was. So 1 point for Chilwell at home to Forest. Midfield, Saka got his assist. Odegaard scored, so that's great. He's doing great for me. Foden picked up an assist. And Sterling, who I brought in for Rashford, obviously blanked in that Chelsea result. So the 3 Chelsea players, that game was a bit of a disaster. And the transfer from Rashford to Sterling didn't really work out for me. James to Udogie did a little bit, but never judge an outcome. Never to judge a decision by its outcome. I just can't. Sterling at home to Forest, Rashford away at Arsenal. I was just never going to play Rashford over Sterling. And longer term, I still think Sterling is a good bet. Up front, Haaland hauled, but then everyone's got him. And Jackson finished with 1 point, which again was disappointing. So overall, I ended up with 68 points. Mitoma on the bench picked up another assist, so that was a little bit annoying. And it could have been a lot worse for me, I think. If Estepinian, he was on a clean sheet going into the 92nd minute against Newcastle. So luckily for me, unfortunate for a lot of FPL managers, he lost that clean sheet. So that could have been worse. But Mitoma, yeah, stuck on the bench. He would have come on if Lewis hadn't come on for a minute. But that's a risk I was always going to take with Lewis. It does feel a bit I feel a little bit unlucky because Lewis just hasn't played something like the last 10 games, never comes off the bench, and this is the 1 week he did. But you know what, that's the risk you play when you go against Pep and his roulette. So 259 points. My rank did get a red arrow, so I went down to 689k. I've got 1 transfer that I can either make this week or roll and do 2 next week. I've got 2.6 in the bank, and there is a couple of options. The rank's okay when I consider that the last 2 seasons, I finished, 200k last year, 21 the year before. And those were I ended up on the best rank I had all season. So, given that, I think I'm in a pretty decent position. I could be a lot worse, could be better. There's also always going to be decisions that you wish you made. But 689, decent position, got some money in the bank, the side looks all right. Can't affect what's happened last week. So let's just move on to the next one. So moving into game week 5 then, I have a decision to make about the goalkeeping position. I've got Onana who plays Brighton at home, and I'm not really very confident against Brighton with that Manchester United defence. The options are also Matt Turner could play at home for Forest against Burnley. Now there is a consideration that maybe he's lost his place to Vlachodimos. I think I've said that right, apologies if I haven't. So he could not be playing in any case. Worst case, I'm left with Onana, but I am tempted to start with Turner in goal for Forest and then put Onana on the bench. Either way, I'll have a playing goalkeeper, and I'm just not sure. I think it's really nit for now. I do think Forest marginally odd back at home to Burnley, especially after the result last week, but then Manchester United could equally possibly keep a clean sheet against Burnley, save points for Onana. I think I am going to go for Turner. If it doesn't play, Onana comes in. I'm not going to waste a transfer on a goalkeeper at this stage. Onana is just not that bad an option, I think. If I was picking a new goalkeeper from scratch now with a wild card, I don't think Onana or Turner would get in it. but I'm not using the transfer to burn on my goalkeeping situation. Estepinian, I've also got with a difficult fixture away at Man United, but we know he can score and get attacking returns against anyone. He's been one of the highest point scorers, given that he hasn't even kept a clean sheet yet, so he stays in my side. Saliba plays away at Everton, absolutely. Chilwell and Udogie will definitely play. I've got a question mark over Lewis. Just never know if he's going to start. Fell into the trap of getting that early team news on that first Friday of the season when he was playing. Brought him in as a cheap City defender, and I've kind of regretted it ever since. He's not started a game, and I'm not sure what to do with him. So he's possibly one I'm looking to move out. I don't think I can even risk putting him in the side, because if he doesn't play, he just might come off the bench again and wreck it for someone else. So I'm not sure what to do about Lewis, but Saliba, Chilwell, Udogie definitely going to start this week, as we'll see in a minute. Moving into my midfield, Saka and Odegaard, no brainers. Sterling, absolutely, and Foden will play. Mitoma, I wouldn't mind playing against Man United. I'm a big fan of Mitoma. I still think he's got the minutes, the goal threat. He's got 4 returns in 4 games so far. He feels like he's gone under the radar a little bit, but he's doing the business for Brighton. So I definitely like him. But with the fixtures everyone else got, he's possibly going to have to start on the bench. And up front, Haaland, obviously. Mbamba, he just making the numbers up. He's not going to get any minutes, and with that fixture anyway, he's not in consideration. And then Nicholas Jackson up front. I could look to move Jackson on. There are other options. I could move Lewis out and bring Alvarez in. I just think Jackson, with the fixtures he's got nailed up front for Chelsea, I'm not really prepared to move him. I'm sticking with him for the time being. So the way the side most likely is going to line up, Saliba, Chilwell and Udogie with Matt Turner in goal, Saka and Odegaard with their good fixture, Sterling, Foden and Mitoma in midfield, and Haaland and Jackson up front. The armband is clearly going to go on Haaland. The only other thing that could possibly happen is if I did make a transfer, and even then I don't think I would move it away from Haaland. Lewis could come into the side, and it would look very different if he did. Mitoma would drop to the bench. I'm not sure. I think if I knew Lewis was starting, he would start instead of Mitoma. But even then, I still think Mitoma can get attacking returns at Manchester United. So I think more than likely I'm going to go with Mitoma and put Lewis onto the bench, and then possibly just roll my transfer. The things that I could do with my transfers, I am possibly looking at, is that Rico Lewis could come out 4.5. I've got the money in the bank. He could come out, and I could look to bring in someone like Botman if he was available. He's got Brentford at home this week. Then his fixtures do look good. Sheffield United away, Burnley at home, West Ham away. Decent fixtures for what we know is a good Newcastle side, and defensively quite strong, even if they haven't shown it against some of the harder teams they've been playing recently. That is one option. But with Brentford at home, I'm just not in a rush to bring Botman in, especially when he's got a flag. I don't want to go to Trippier. I'm not 100%. There's enough doubt, I think, with his minutes, with the European rotation, and what has happened so far with lack of returns, that just puts me off spending £6.5 million. Another week, and I might feel differently if he gets a clean sheet and gets an assist against Brentford, and then we'll all be rushing to bring him in. So I may hold on to this transfer. What the other option I've got, it feels just like I'm jumping on the bandwagon, is I could move Mitoma out with his difficult fixture, and I do have the exact money to go for Son. It will take all my budget up, but I could do it. Mitoma with a difficult fixture, or Son against Sheffield United at home, there's absolutely no question as who's got a better potential returns in that sort of this game week coming up. It's the following game weeks that bother me. I've got Mitoma at home to Bournemouth, and then with Son playing away at Arsenal, and then Liverpool. Mitoma, not an easy game against Villa, or then against home to Liverpool either. But Mitoma's been brilliant for me so far this season. I'm just not 100% convinced that there's enough benefit in the next 3 game weeks to go for Son. Son, I assume, is going to be playing up front, possibly on penalties as well. I just feel with those Arsenal and Liverpool games, I don't know. I think Brighton are so good attacking anyway that I think Mitoma could equally match Son over the next 3 game weeks, and then Luton away looks really good. And Tottenham's fixtures look decent after that, whereas Brighton's turn. So then maybe is the time to move from Mitoma or someone else and get on to Son. Right now, it's going to be horrible, I think, watching Tottenham play Tottenham play Sheffield United at home, and I will be behind the sofa watching that, because without the likes of Maddison and Son, I could be hurt. But I equally think Mitoma could get an attacking return against Manchester United, and then he's got that great fixture against Bournemouth, which I don't want to miss. It doesn't make a lot of sense taking him out before that fixture. And also, I do have to consider the fact that he's 6.5 and Son is 9.1. So he is a lot cheaper in a good attacking Brighton side. But yeah, Son could really hurt me. And you know what? It wouldn't take a huge amount of arguing for me to do that move. The other one that could do it is Sterling comes out for Son, but I've only just brought Sterling in, and I'm not prepared to undo that decision after just 1 week. That just seems ridiculously knee-jerk. So Mitoma, I think, would be the one that would make way, because I certainly don't want to lose Odegaard or Saka when they're playing away at Everton. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you intend to transfer in for Game Week 5, or like me, are you going to possibly roll it? Who is going to be your captain? We will come back at you next week with a watch list, team selection, all that good stuff. So, in the meantime, best of luck with Game Week 5, and I shall see you on the other side.